Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of this channel called Patrick the Runner. My name is Patrick Sheridan and I am here to talk about running. So before I get started, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been watching so far, to everyone who's been pressing the like button, and to everyone who has subscribed. Please do keep pressing the like button if you're enjoying the videos, and please do subscribe if you haven't already and you have been enjoying the videos. Please also do keep sharing the videos, because this will let other people see the content, and I think that'll be really good for one, allowing them to see the progress that I'm making, but two, also allowing as many people as possible to access the information that I'm giving you guys. And I hope you've all been really enjoying it so far, and I hope that it has been helpful. Also, I just wanted to add that you can now follow me on Instagram at PatrickTheRunner97, and also on Strava I'm listed as Patrick Sheridan, so feel free to track my training there. Moving on to the topic of this week's video, it is to have a breakdown of the 5k race that I did at the weekend. I was hoping to run under 15 minutes, so now you can all tune in and watch and see how I get on, and I will speak to you shortly with a bit of a breakdown. Okay, so hi everyone, this is the race day and it's Saturday morning at about 5 to 9, so I have 35 minutes until the race. I'm just about to start my warm-up. It's going to be about 15 minutes, so 2 miles, and then I'm going to do the stretches and then my strides after, and then hopefully I'm going to try to run under 15 minutes. So yeah, the weather's not the best, but what can you do? I think the course is absolutely perfect for running quick times, so I'll just have to get around it as quickly as I can. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I've done some stretching there just as I get out of the car on the road or the footpath. It's a bit wet, but it had to be done, so I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll speak to you all soon. Okay, so everyone, the parkrun is finished. I ran 15:11, so didn't get under 15 minutes, and I'm quite disappointed, to be honest, but it's a 2-second PB, so at least that's something. At least if I'm not going in the upward trajectory that I was hoping that I'm on, at least I'm not moving backwards, so moving slightly forwards, and I will get there in the end. It's just disappointing because I thought I could do it today. The conditions were very, very good, to be honest. It wasn't raining during the race, which is really all you can ask for here. It wasn't windy either, so everything was there for it to go well. I felt really good, and it just didn't quite happen. I was about 11 seconds out, 12 seconds out, so I suppose when you break that down, it's only 3 seconds per k, so it's not too much of a tall order to get before Christmas. But yes, I think I'm going to try to have a look exactly what it is that I'm doing in training, and maybe what it is I could be changing, but that's probably something that I can figure out when I go home. But for now, gonna go get some lunch and just try to recover. But yeah, so again, that's what the channel's going to be about. I'm going to show the good days and the bad days, so hopefully there'll be good days to come. But unfortunately, that was just a day where it didn't go quite as planned, and I was very disappointed, but sure, you know, what can you do? I give it my best, so onwards and upwards. Thanks for joining. Okay, so you probably have seen there that the race didn't go quite as planned, and you probably have heard me say that in the last couple of weeks about the race that I did in Bangor for the 10k, and also for the session that I did last week where I didn't quite hit the targets that I was hoping to hit in those reps during that interval session. So yeah, that is something that happens when you are competing and when you are trying to continually make yourself better and make yourself faster. So that is just par for the course sometimes as an athlete. But what I did want to say and touch on was that I know you've all seen the last clip there where I spoke about my initial thoughts after the race, and that video was actually taken about 15 minutes after the race, so I suppose it was relatively soon after the race, but my thoughts also might have been a bit different had I spoken a minute after the race. There probably would have been a fair amount of cursing and a fair amount of venting, really just at myself, because it was me who was running the race and it was entirely my fault that I didn't run the time that I had wanted to. So I was really just cursing at myself and just venting at how I felt I had performed badly. And I really wanted to say that because I want this channel to be about my progress as a runner and to show how I feel after certain events, and I want there to be full transparency. I want there to be honesty, and I just want to be as genuine as possible. And whilst I was absolutely right with what I said after the race, which was that I'm still going on an upward trajectory and I'm still moving forward, that's 100% right, and that is the way I'm looking at it. But I also just wanted to say that I really am disappointed at that performance, and I really think that I am better than that as an athlete, and sometimes that happens, and I'm now going to explain what I think I can do better. But I really just wanted to explain that if you're out there and you're not hitting goals, whatever they are, that's okay, and it's good to use that as motivation to try to get better. And I really was not happy at the weekend about how I had performed. And I also wanted to say that one of the reasons probably why I didn't go into so much detail after the event was because I was very tired after the event, but also I probably didn't want to come across as petulant, or I didn't want people to think, oh, he's running a 5k in 15 minutes and he's thinking that, what about if I'm running it in 25 minutes, or if I'm running a 5k in 30 minutes, or if I can't run a 5k, how should I feel then? I don't want people to think like that. I don't want to demotivate people. I don't think that that's going to happen. But I suppose what I am saying is I set really high standards for myself. I train really hard. I eat really well. I sleep as well as I can do with the time that I have. And I basically try to do everything I can do to become the best athlete possible. So I don't really want to shy away from the fact that I'm annoyed at what I consider to be unacceptable performances. And I hope that makes sense to everyone, because as I said, I just want to be as honest as possible. And I want this channel to be about my progress, to use that information that I've learned to help other people. But I also want to be as open as I can be with people about how I'm feeling, because I think that is part of me and that is part of my character, and I am someone who really is determined to succeed. And I was really unhappy at the weekend with that performance, and it really did affect my mood and my happiness, and that's something that I kind of just wanted to share, because I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to use that as motivation. And what I wanted to say finally is that now I'm going to give a breakdown of the race, and I'm going to explain what I think I can do better moving forward. But these aren't excuses for the performance, and that's another thing that I wanted to tell everyone. I will never make excuses for my performance. The reality was that I couldn't run quickly enough on the day, and I gave it my best. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things I can do better, and that there aren't mistakes that I made which I can make sure don't happen again. So I hope that that makes sense to everyone. And now I'm going to give a bit of a breakdown of the race, and I'm going to analyze what I think I can do differently going forward, and how I think that this might help you guys to analyze your own races and think about how you can improve your performance. So I hope that this helps. Okay, so firstly, the race at the Victoria Park was actually in a pretty good setting to run a quick time. It consisted of 3 laps of Victoria Park in Belfast, which are all just slightly over a mile. The weather was actually really bad the morning of the race, but by the time the race had started, the rain had completely cleared up. The wind wasn't there anymore, so the track was actually optimal for running a good time. So there are absolutely no excuses there. What happened at the race was that I decided I was going to go out quite hard because I felt good. Training had gone really well. My tapering down the week of the race had gone well, and I just felt like I was in prime condition to perform. So I just thought to myself I would try to go out and run the first K in about 2:50. I ended up running the first K in about 2:44 according to my watch. Strava tells me that it was 2:43, but I'm going to go off the watch that I use, which said that it was 2:44. So just for context, I think 2:44 K pace would get you 13:40. So that was a wee bit too quick. I think that would be a parkrun world record. So I shouldn't have gone off that quick. What then happened was that, well, immediately after I saw my watch, when it buzzed after the first K, I actually felt okay, and I felt, right, I've got 16 seconds in the bank, so to speak, because then I could just run the other 4 remaining kilometers at 3-minute K pace flat, and I would run 16 seconds under 15 minutes, which would be absolutely perfect. That wasn't really my intention. I was hoping that I could keep closer to that pace up, but that didn't happen. Basically, at about a K&a-half to 2K, my legs sort of felt like they turned to jelly. And what happened was that after that, I was probably swimming in a pool of lactic acid because I had gone out quite hard and I wasn't fit enough to do that. I still felt okay, but yeah, very quickly, I suppose it started to go south. And that's probably because I went out too hard. I probably should have gone out about 10 to 15 seconds slower than that. So again, that's not an excuse for the performance, but that's one of the things that I think I can do better moving forward. And that's one of the reasons why I decided that I am going to do this race again on Saturday. I'm going to run the 5K again at Victoria Park in Belfast, and I am going to try and run under 15 minutes again. I was quite annoyed at myself that I had gone out that hard at the start when I thought about it after the race, but also one of the factors that sometimes you have to try to counteract yourself is the adrenaline that you have at the start of those races. Quite often the first K you do a lot quicker than you think you have done because you're all geared up and ready to go. But the only thing is that adrenaline can wear off once you start to get very tired. So what happened was that I went through the first K&a-half very quickly. I think I did the first mile in about 4:30 or so. And then I started to get quite tired and my race went downhill a wee bit because of the fact that I had gone out so hard. So really the lesson for you all to learn is that you should try to go out more conservatively and stick to your goal race pace. So my goal race pace really should have been 2:59, so I should have tried to go out more around that range. I think also one of the reasons why I do that is because I do have good natural speed, and so running a kilometre at 2:44 doesn't actually feel that quick. It's just after a K&a-half or 2K, it started to come tiring and I couldn't sustain that speed, so I slowed down then quite a good bit. So I think my K splits were 2:44, 2:57, 3:02, 3:03 and 3:05. They were around about that. So obviously you can tell there that my kilometre splits got slower as the race went on, which isn't really what you want to happen. And in an ideal world, a lot of people like to run negative splits, which means that, you know, you run the second half of the race quicker than you ran the first half of the race, and a lot of people think that's a good way to go. I quite often don't really think about it too much. I just sort of run on how I feel, and obviously I got it wrong in the day. So basically what I'm saying is I probably need to be a bit more disciplined this week. I'm going to try to run the first K in about 2:55 to 3 minutes. I mean, there'll be an awful lot of difference in how I feel if I can run 2:55 or 2:56 or even 2:57 rather than 2:44. So that's definitely one thing that I'm going to do. So really what I'm saying is that the first issue there for me was that I went out too hard. So yeah, issue one was going out too hard. Okay, so the second element of the race that I wanted to discuss and analyze was my running form. This is something that I have paid particular attention to since the track season finished in the summer. And the reason for that is because whilst I was watching the videos of my track races during the summer, I realized that I looked in my stride to be shuffling along the ground a bit, and it looked like my feet weren't getting that high off the ground. And whilst it doesn't make any sense to be lifting your feet off the ground too much because you want your body to be propelling itself forward and not upwards, it also makes sense that in order to propel yourself forward, you need to be lifting your feet up a wee bit higher than my feet were going, which meant that I tried to see what I could do to work on that. And also it looked at the time like my stride was quite short, and that didn't seem like something that was particularly conducive to running at an optimal efficiency that would help me run faster for longer. So basically I decided to try to work on that, and what I really did there was worked on the mobility issues or deficiencies that I think I had at the time, and I probably still do now because things can always be better, but I am continuing to work on. And really what that work consisted of was mobility and strength work. But mainly for me, the issue was mobility. And I had quite tight hamstrings from the hamstring injuries that I had got while I was playing football. And this also led to me having, I think, tight glutes and tight hip flexors. And over the last couple of months, since the track season is finished, I've done quite a lot of mobility work. I can talk about what exactly that is, perhaps in another video if there's appetite for it. But what I did was a lot of stretching, and over the past couple of months, I have noticed that this has allowed me, I think, to run more efficiently with a better stride. It's allowed me to have a slightly higher knee drive, and I think that has allowed me to lengthen my stride without actually thinking too much about it. But I think also I have been consciously thinking about my running form when I've been training, and thinking about the fact that I quite often have to fight against my instinct, which is to run with quite short strides. And I think when I run with quite short strides, and I do think I tend to understride a good bit when I'm not thinking about my running, and I think that just means that I have to work harder to sustain the same speeds as I would if I was running at a better efficiency. So basically what I'm saying is that I think over the last couple of months I've made improvements which have meant that I am able to sustain similar speeds or quicker speeds than I was during the summer with the same effort. But this takes work, and this takes me to consciously be thinking about doing that. So I think that during the race on Saturday I didn't think enough about this, and I had a lapse in concentration, particularly after about a K&a-half, 2K, when I started to get tired, which also was attributable to the fact that I went out quite hard. But once I did get tired, I think that I was guilty of reverting to type and going back to those short strides, which, as I've said, aren't really conducive to running your best and to getting personal best. And I know I did get a personal best, and that's something that I'm happy enough about. I didn't run as quickly as I should have done. So what I'm really saying this week is that I'm going to make more of a conscious effort to think about my stride, to try to run like I have been running for the last month or two. And I'm hoping that my increased concentration will allow me to run faster at the same effort, and I'm hoping that that'll help me to run under 15 minutes. That's also one of the reasons why I've chosen to do this park run again this weekend, because I do think that there are small changes that I can make this Saturday coming which will allow me to run under 15 minutes. But I suppose the proof will be in the pudding, and I'm just going to have to see how I get on. But yeah, that was the second element of the race that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so the third element of the race that I wanted to discuss, which is more something that I learned in the aftermath of the race, was the fact that my heart rate didn't get quite as high as I thought it would have gotten to. So the maximum heart rate in that race on Saturday at the parkrun 5K was, I think, 176 beats per minute. Now, my maximum heart rate, according to the app that I'm using, is 191, and that was recorded with a chest heart rate monitor on the 16th of June. So the fact that it was 191 then, that was the recording in a 10K race where I ran 31 minutes 44, and last Saturday it was 15 beats lower than that, is a slight concern for me, because I'm not really sure whether it's a case of the heart rate monitor isn't as accurate as I thought it was, or whether it's a case that for some reason my heart rate wasn't able to get to its maximum, or whether it's a case that it was inaccurate before and 191 actually isn't my maximum heart rate. I'm not really sure what exactly the issue is, but it's kind of just something that I wanted to talk about, because as I said, I want to be as open, transparent and honest as possible in these videos, and this was something that was on my mind, and it's not something that I actually have answers to as yet. It's just something that I wanted to talk about, because I consider it a bit of an issue that my heart rate isn't getting as high as I would like to be able to get it to go to. So I thought that that was an important thing to let you guys know about. Now, one of the reasons why that might have happened could be due to the fact that I went off so hard, which meant that I was basically swimming in lactic acid, as I've said, from quite an early stage. And when that happens, what can also happen is that your heart rate won't get as high afterwards because you'll have to slow down due to the high level of lactate in your blood, and that will mean that your heart doesn't really get the opportunity to work as hard as it otherwise would be able to. At least that's my understanding. So I'm not really sure if that is the reason, but I'm going to try over the next while to figure that out. And again, I just wanted to mention that because it is an issue which I'm trying to basically figure out. I should also add to that I am going to get tested over the next few weeks, or certainly within the next month, and that's going to involve lactate testing and VO2 max testing all on the same day, and basically just going to involve me getting on a treadmill in a lab and me being tested. So maybe there I'll get an idea of what my actual maximum heart rate is, so maybe then I'll have better data to go off. But it's just something that I wanted to say because I'd like to be able to see if I pace it slightly better this week, will I be able to get my heart rate higher? Your maximum heart rate can also be affected by things like tiredness and nutrition, so I'm going to have to look into those things too. But anyway, that's just something I also wanted to discuss. Again, I don't actually have the answers yet, but hopefully that can help other people to think about things that maybe they're not already considering, and think about things that might be issues for them, or think about how they could maybe approach their training by using heart rate data. So I hope that's informative in some way. At the very least, it's an explanation of the type of thing that's going through my mind at the minute, and I'm going to, as I said, try to work out what exactly is going on there. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to say about the race, which is probably important enough to mention, and I did say it in the thumbnail, is that I actually was in the top 5 parkrun times in the UK at the weekend, which is pretty cool, to be fair. And I think I was actually 4th, so I think it was the 4th fastest parkrun time in the UK at the weekend, which is something to be proud of, because it's something that very few people will probably ever be able to say that they did. And it's a relatively minor achievement for what I'm hoping to achieve, but it's a pretty cool thing to be able to say. And I just thought, yeah, it would be good to tell you guys that and let you know, because as I said, it's quite a cool thing to be able to say that you've done. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on what I had said before and what I alluded to a few moments ago in the video, which is basically that with the result on Saturday, I was really, really disappointed. I did let this affect my mood throughout the weekend and since, because it really, really has had an impact on how I've been feeling, and really that's it. I just have been really disappointed with the performance, and I want to give it another go this Saturday, and that's why I've chosen again the week after the race that I just did. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to try to break that 15-minute barrier, and I'm going to do everything I can to achieve that. What I want to make clear just before I finish is that the standards I set for myself are very high, and I expect a lot of myself. And I suppose the reason why I expect a lot of myself is because I think I do have a lot of potential, but I also do think I really put the work in, and I am a person who is dedicated and who is disciplined, and I will train religiously. I'll not let anything get in the way of my training. If I'm working to 10 or half 10, I'll make sure that when I get home at 11, if I was in the office that day, that I'll run to 11:45, maybe do 6-7 miles, whatever it was that I was planning to do, I will do, and then I'll go straight to bed, and then I'll get up in the morning and I'll do the same thing again. I'll maybe run before work, and then I'll run after work. Maybe on a Saturday when I'm off, I'll run twice again. On a Sunday, I'll go to the gym and run. Basically what I'm saying is that I am a dedicated athlete, and I do think I have a fair amount of natural ability, and basically I really do want to do everything I can to fulfill my potential. And what I'm saying is that I don't want people to think that I'm petulant, or that basically I'm throwing the toys out of the pram when I get a bad result, but I am really, really hard on myself. And I don't say that in a way to make people think, oh, that's great, he's a real winner, or any of that there. I'm just saying that's how it is. And when I'm talking about my when I'm talking about my races in my videos, I'm just being honest, and I want to let everyone know how I actually feel, because if I'm not doing that, then really what's the point of doing the channel? Or if I'm not being completely transparent about how it is I feel after a run, then it's kind of just misleading to you guys. So what I said after the race, or 15 minutes after the race, as I've said before, was definitely how I felt, and it's definitely how I'm looking at things again. But it's just that I really want to make clear that I want to do a lot better, and that this channel is going to be about hopefully you guys all getting to see my progress. And I just want it to be better than it's been recently, and I'm going to do everything I can do to try to make myself better and to make progress quicker, even quicker than I have been. And I'm really hoping that I can do that, and I really, really do appreciate everyone following me on my journey. But secondly, I really do hope that my progress can inspire others, and the training that I'm doing can inspire others to start or continue their own fitness journey and to make better decisions based on the information that I'm giving you, and just to basically become happier and healthier. I think that the training that I'm doing, although I'm really dedicated, and I don't eat bad food. I'll maybe eat like bad food as in a biscuit or sweets or dessert or something about twice or three times a year. Like, I am disciplined, and I don't really take shortcuts, and I don't take alcohol. I don't really put anything in my body that I don't think is going to be good for it. I try to get sleep. That's probably something I can work on, but I try to get as much sleep as I can so that I can recover. I don't miss any training unless I'm sick or injured. And what I'm saying is that I put my life and soul into this training, and I want to do as well as I can, and I want people to know that I'm putting the effort in, and I want people to see that it means a lot to me, which it does. And I don't want to pretend that it doesn't affect me as much as it does. And I think just in that video that I'd done after the race, I kind of just didn't want to look really, really disappointed and to look like I was being really negative. But the truth is that I am trying to be positive about it, and it is a decent result. But it's just, the reality is that I know I can do a lot better, and that I know I need to do better if I want to get to that higher level, which is where I want to get to. So that's what I'm saying to everyone out there. I really hope you continue to follow my progress, and I really hope it does encourage you to start exercising. So with that in mind, please do try to, keep up the training that you're doing. I'm not saying you need to be training every day, or you need to say like, right, I'm going to train like a madman. I just mean, if you start training once or twice a week, if you're not already doing it, or keep up at least the training that you are doing, and you'll be happier for it. I was watching stuff on Instagram the other day. I was looking at a clip or something, and it said something like when people take drugs or alcohol, I think particularly drugs, they might feel high for 10 or 15 minutes or an hour or two, whatever it is. I don't know, I've never taken a drug in my life, but after, they'll feel awful and they'll have a real sort of come down. But with running, it's quite often the complete opposite. Quite a lot of the time, when you're pushing yourself through pain, or even if you do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, like putting your foot outside the door before you take yourself out for even a walk or a run, you won't feel good about it at the time quite often. But after, you'll feel $1 million. You'll feel way better for the fact that you've done it. And I really just encourage people to do that, to start exercising if you haven't been already, to do slightly more of it if it's not going to lead to you getting injured, if you are doing some of it now, and to just keep being really positive about the progress you've made. That's also something I just want to finish with. There's so much that you can do to make yourself better, but there's also so much that you need to take pride in with what you're doing. So I really am proud that I was the 4th quickest park run in the UK this weekend. That's something that, as I said, not many people will be able to say, but that's something that I need to take pride in. And you need to take pride in your accomplishments. This time last year, I would have got nowhere near. I would have been a couple of minutes away from running a 15-minute 5K. So that's something that I really am proud of. So take pride in where you are and the work you've done to get yourself to where you're at. But that doesn't mean that you have to be happy with where you are. You can always strive to do better. And as I've said, that doesn't mean that you need to take it as seriously as I do, and that's not what I'm trying to tell people. What I'm just saying is, I hope you guys enjoy following my journey, and I really do hope that you can use the information that I have acquired over the last 13 months or so to make you better. And thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you to continue to enjoy the videos. Please do like the videos if you're enjoying them. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the video next week, where I really am going to do everything I can do to run under this 15-minute 5K. So I hope you all can tune in for that, and have a great week, and stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you all soon. Thank you.